Okay, so we're starting here on project number 24. And project number 24 is one that I don't really like because it does some things the way I wouldn't do them. And it only works if you do it right, and I don't feel the book really tells you how to do it right. So I'm going to go through the process here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust the margins. Remember, the margins are for white areas around the edge of the paper. And so I can come down here to page, so file, page setup, and I'm going to change all of these to 0.5. Okay, and tab. And okay. Good. So now you see that the cursor's a little bit further up there in the corner. Now the next thing we're going to do is open the header. Now there are two ways to open the header, and I will show them both real fast. The first way is to insert header. It's here somewhere. There we go. Header and footer, header. And now we got a space here. Now, I want to show you the other way real quick. So to close the header, I'm just going to click down here in the bottom, in the body of my document. The other way, the way I normally open the headers, I move the cursor till it's right there at the very top of the page, and just I double click real fast. That opens it too. Okay, the header is the portion of the document that prints on every page. And I don't really like this assignment because they have you putting information in the header, and it works, and I know why they're doing it. It's to get around one of the problems that Google Docs has. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in some word art. So come over here to Insert, and I'm going to go ahead and find Drawing, New. Now, I will say that word art in Google is not nearly as advanced as word art in Microsoft Word, but it's there. So I came over here to Actions, and I click on that, and I come down here to word art. Big surprise. Okay, protect your tech, the 4 Ps. Oops. FOURPs. Good. And then I'm just going to press Enter. Great. Now I'm going to go ahead and change the font here. Remember, unless told otherwise, all of everything's in Times New Roman, 12-point font. So I went ahead and selected Times New Roman. Now I'm going to change the fill color here, the color inside the words. I'll do that at the paint bucket, and I can go up here and select, yeah, sure, orange. It really doesn't matter which color you select here. It's not like you're being graded for picking a color. Well, you're being graded for picking a color, so pick a color, but it doesn't matter which color as much. Okay, now I'm going to come over here to border weight, and I'm going to make this border 3-point font. Okay, it looks a little cramped right here, but then we're going to go ahead and click on Save and Close. And there it is. Okay, so then I'm going to make it, if I want to make it bigger, go to the corner sizing handles, but right now we're not going to make it bigger because we're having too many other things we're doing. Instead, all we're going to do is click on it, and we're going to go ahead and center align it. Center align. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go to the end right here. You saw that I clicked just past it and went Enter. Good. And now we're just going to go ahead and left align the text. So having left aligned the text, I'll come up here, and I'm just going to grab that first paragraph. Okay. Control C. Come back over here to our document, and I'm going to paste that in. Control V. Now, we do want to make sure that everything here is Times New Roman 12-point font. I'll tell you, if you don't do that, it's not going to work right. This lesson, they very carefully made sure that it needs to be exactly what they want it to be. Okay, good. Now, you notice I clicked right after the word safe, and you see my cursor there, okay? And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a horizontal line. Good. Now you see that my cursor is now below the horizontal line right here. Okay, I want to hit backspace once so that it's now over here. And note that I was right next to the exclamation point when I made this line. We are now done in the header, okay? We might come back and make this a little bit bigger later on, but right now we're just as well off to have the room. So I'm going to click over here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the rest of my document 2 columns. So I'm going to come over here to Format, Columns, 2 columns. You don't see any change has been made, but you'll see it in just a few moments. So I'm going to go ahead and type in that first word, protect. And I need everything here to be Times New Roman 12-point font. So Times New Roman 12-point font. Everything here needs to be Times New Roman 12-point font or it's not going to work right. So let's go back and get some of the text I already gave you. So I already typed some of this in for you. And let's make sure that I'm right there. So I'm starting with downloads all the way up to the word safeguarding, okay? So I grabbed those paragraphs. We can already see something weird's going on here. And we'll deal with that once we get it into the document. Control-C. Control-Shift-V. Note I used Control-Shift so that I didn't have to reformat this as Times New Roman 12-point font. Now, something looks weird here. So I'm going to go ahead and make some changes here. Okay, this looks lighter than everything else. So I will really quick come up there, triple click, click, click. I'm just going to select it all real fast. Okay. I'm going to go ahead now, and we're going to do this in a few moments, but something looks odd here. So I'm going to show non-printing characters, okay? Yeah, and that's what's happening right there. You see that right there after the word various. So I'm just going to go there and backspace, okay? And then spacebar, okay? So you only want the paragraph mark at the end of the paragraph. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and I'll tell you what else I want to do here. I want to change that to black really fast. There. I don't know if you see the difference. I definitely do. Okay, and let's make sure of it. So now I'm looking at this, and I want to get rid of some of these unneeded marks here. So I'm going to go right here, and I'll backspace there. Okay, that one there, backspace. That one there, backspace. Okay, now I'm going to insert bullets before all of these. So I'm going to select these, and you'll note that the paragraph mark is what determines whether or not a bullet is inserted. So I'm going to click on bulleted list, and there we go. We've now got that bulleted list. Okay, and so I'm going to go back here because I just want it just in case when you're doing it yourself. If you were here and at that point, I would go backspace, backspace. And there I am at the end, and now I'll hit enter once. So now I've got a single paragraph symbol between what I've just done and what I'm starting to do now. And now I'm going to go ahead and type in the word prevent. Prevent. And enter. Okay. So in this one, we're talking about preventing disaster when something goes wrong with your computer. And so I'm going to come down here. Preparing for the worst may seem unnecessary until it happens. And then backing up and turning your computer off. Control-C. Come back over here. Again, I'm focusing mostly in this lesson on just how to get this done. Control-Shift-V. Okay. So we've got a few things going on here. Let's go ahead and put in the bullet points first. The only reason we're putting in the bullet points first because I want you to see what's happening here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and select all of this. Is that black? Is that? Yeah, it's black. You can tell because the check mark is there. Just, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of this again. And I'm going to click on the bulleted list tool. Okay, so we see that kind of it doesn't look very good. You can see what's happened is every single time it sees that paragraph mark, it's going to put that bullet there. So we're just going to come right here, backspace, backspace, spacebar. And actually, just to tell you, this whole paragraph was not actually supposed to have been bulleted, okay? But so we're going to go ahead and fix it, and then we'll get rid of the bullets. Oops, make. And I'm going to go ahead to this one. Backspace, backspace, spacebar. Okay, this one here was not supposed to have been bulleted, so I'm just going to go click right before the P and backspace, backspace. Okay, now that's working. So let's go ahead here, get rid of this one. Good. Okay, this side is basically done. Okay, now, if your text is showing up over here at this point, in very simple terms, you've done something wrong up till now. Common things that I see wrong. Sometimes people, this box right here, they make it really tall, and it's easy to see because there's a lot of blank space at the top of the page. That's a possibility of what may have gone wrong. Another thing that sometimes goes wrong is that very simply students have too many spaces between these things. You know, like they'll have, I'm just started doing this, but they'll have like that, okay? Or they might even actually have the bullet there, as a matter of fact. It might even look like that. But they'll have those. And those are the kind of things that can be going wrong at this point. At this point, everything should be on this side of the page, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and go to the bottom of the document again and enter. Now I'm at the top of the other side of the page, okay? So prepare, enter, good. So let's go ahead and find what goes there. The best way to protect your computer is to stay informed. Yeah, and I believe I've mentioned this in class, but Control C. The two that I really rely on the most is Tom's Hardware Guide and Slashdot. Slashdot.com is a discussion site for computer people. It's kind of hard to read because of its threaded format, and I'm not going to deny that. Control Shift V, so I'm going to paste all that in. Okay, so we see a couple of things going on here. We see here that carriage return. We want to get rid of it, so I'm going to go backspace, spacebar. Okay, so this paragraph looks like it's done. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and select from Keep Current all the way down to this one right here, and we're going to put in that bulleted list tool. Okay, and does everything look right? No, because we should only have 3. I'll tell you where it's wrong, where we went wrong. Right here, you see that. So we're going to click right before Internet Provider, backspace, 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 spacebar, and now that bullet is no longer there. Okay, so I clicked over here, and I'm going to hit Enter once more, where I'm going to start putting in the final line here. Perceive. Did I spell it right? Perceive. Okay, and now enter. Good. Now I'm going to come back over to here. Again, I'm not spending a lot of time talking about the computer side of the stuff. This one here, we can already see we're going to have to do some cleaning up of that paragraph. That'll be okay, though. So let's just go ahead and select the rest of this. Control C. Come back over to the assignment. Control Shift V. Again, the reason we're using Control Shift is just so we don't have to deal with changing a lot of the font. Now you can see these characters here. We got something wrong going on. So I'm just going to go backspace, spacebar. Okay. And let's see, down arrow, backspace, spacebar, down arrow. Actually, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go left, right arrow, right arrow, right arrow. There I am. Down arrow, backspace, spacebar. There we go, fixed. Okay, I do want to get rid of this one right here, so I'm going to click right there, backspace, get rid of that one. And I'm going to get rid of this one. If I don't, well, we'll just do it without doing it to show you, okay? And bulleted list tool. And big surprise, we got that bullet right there. It's doing nothing for us. Backspace, backspace, backspace. There we go. Okay, this is the first part of it, and everything should be on one page. Again, if you're on 2 pages, you've done something wrong. Common things you may have done wrong. You might not be using Times New Roman. Oddly enough, Times New Roman takes less space than many of the other fonts, even if they're also 12-point. The only other thing is you might have spaces or these little paragraph symbols in places where you shouldn't have them. I'm purposely leaving it on so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, we're not quite done yet. Now we're going to take the 4 subtitles, these here, and we're going to make them bold and 14-point font. So I'm going to click twice on the word protect. Remember, 1 click moves the cursor. 2 clicks selects the word. By the way, remember, 3 clicks selects the paragraph. So I'm going to select the word protect by clicking on it twice, and I'm going to go ahead and make that bold and 14-point font. Okay. Now there's 2 ways of doing the next one. I'm going to show you the other way, which of course is to just do the same thing over again. Okay. So 14 and bold. Okay, the other thing I could have done, after I get it set correctly, I click on the paint roller right here, paint format. Now don't click anywhere else. I'm using the red scroll wheel. Now I'm just going to drag that over whatever it is that I want to reformat. And it will match that format. Paint format, and drag it over this word right here. I went from 2 different directions just to show you that it works. And you can see I missed the E, so I'm going to click on that again and make sure I get the E. Okay. At this point, it's basically ready to turn in. Now, if you wanted to resize this up here in the header, this is the time to do it. And we can adjust the header size a little bit. But notice a little bit of change brings about a lot. So go a little bit slow here and make sure that you're not going onto a second page as you're resizing. But beyond that, this is now ready to turn in.